welcome to another up close video. So today's one is another Polkadoodles up close video. I haven't done a Polkadoodles one for a little while now, but this is their new 2020 Christmas release, and it's the Blessings and Baubles collection, and it actually coordinates with the Snowman Smile range from last year, which I did an up close video on. So the cute little snowman, and there were a few other different sets that all kind of coordinated together. This is the same kind of style, so it goes together really nicely, but all the cards I'm going to show you in this video are just focusing on the 4 new stamp sets, just to not confuse anybody. I have really loved working with these. I could literally carry on for another few days still creating some more cards with them, but I've got to move on to other stuff. But I wanted to do this up close video for you just so you can see a few ideas of how to use them, and also just so you can see these gorgeous designs as well. I really do love Nikky stamps, and these ones, they're a really fine detail. When I stamped them I was like, wow, you know, that's such fine lines. You know, like black fine liner pens, usually we tend to go for like a 0.5 or maybe even a 0.7 thickness for writing with. These are like, I don't know, 0.3 or even thinner. They're really nice fine detail, and they stamp so nicely with the crisp details. Even when you're using a stamping platform and stamping it multiple times, you're still getting the really gorgeous fine details. Or even if you are stamping them with like the VersaFine Clair ink, and just using an acrylic block, they stamp absolutely perfectly like that too, still with the fine details. So let's go through the different stamp sets first, and then I'll show you the cards that I've done. I have kind of mixed most of the stamp sets, I think, but they go so well together, and some of them are actually designed to work together as well. So let's look at this one first. This one is the Christmas Scene stamp set, and I've actually got them in the real packaging this time. I don't know if, I think however many more that I've filmed before of these Polkadoodles ones, I don't think I've had them in the real packaging. But it gives you a nice guide of how you might want to colour them, and like patterns that you might want to add to them. They're actually all plain stamps, you know, obviously they're just the black outline, so anything that's black on the packaging is the actual stamp, but this is just giving you ideas of how you might want to add pattern to them. Or you can also use your patterned papers and stamp onto the pattern paper and then trim them out and stick them on. This one, the way it's coloured is actually reminding me of like a beach hut, like a very tall skinny beach hut, but I think it looks kind of like a beach hut. But these kind of ones will work for all year round, just the tree and the houses as well, which is really great. And I really love this gorgeous Christmas one. So let's have a look at the stamps. This snowflake is stunning, and it's really gorgeous when it stamps out as well. I've done one where I stamped it in black ink and coloured it with Copics, and then on another card I've actually stamped with the Cosmic Shimmer Opal Blaze polish, and it looks absolutely beautiful. Then we've got this tiny little candle, which is one of the stamps I didn't use from this set. We've got one of the houses here, we've got 2 more houses down here, and we've got a gorgeous little holly sprig as well, which is always useful to have extra holly sprigs. I think I used this in conjunction with one of the baubles on the next set that I'll show you. We've got a gorgeous little sketchy tree. There's also a similar tree in another set as well, so they would mix really nicely together and build up a scene with different looking trees. This one I didn't get a chance to use, but it's gorgeous little stars. I love all these tiny little stamps that just give like a spattering of detail, as if you had maybe splattered ink on your card, but you've got it in a star shape, which is really lovely. And then this one is like the star, or well, these two are the star of the stamp set for me, but this one is gorgeous. So it says Christmas on top of like a little village, but the I and the A of Christmas are Christmas trees. And then on the card that I've done, I actually like decoupaged up the 3 trees and a couple of the houses as well to give it a different look. And I love that it's even got like a little fence down here too, which is really sweet, and there's a bit in the foreground too. So I really love that one. So that is the Christmas Scene stamp set. Then the next one is called Baubles and Banners. Again, really gorgeous stamp set, and the colouring on the stamp set is just to give you an idea of how to colour it. So like on the back here, it looks as though the bauble is stripy, but it's not actually stripy, and the 2 holly leaves are separate to the bauble as well. So it's just everything that is the skinny little sketchy black lines, that's what the actual stamps look like. So you can give the bauble any kind of design that you want, and one of the other sets actually coordinate with the bauble. I'll show you that when I get to that set. But this one is really stunning. So you've got this gorgeous focal element, which is, instead of just being a plain bauble for you to then do whatever you want to, they've even added on like little doodly elements. So you've got all of these little bubbly dots that are around, or which could be snow, and you've got a little heart poking out of it as well, which I really love that they've already like collaged it together for you. So it looks like you've gone in and masked little bits and added extra little stamps, but it's all done for you, which is really lovely. And there's even a couple of stars coming off of it as well. Then you've got this gorgeous sketchy bow at the top of it, and you have 2 different strings that you could use. So you've got this one here, which is a little bit less curly, and then you've got this gorgeous one here, which has got a swirl and a little curl on the bottom of it. And then as well as that, you've also got this one, which I actually used it just to stamp onto the bauble to complete my sentiment, but you could also use that as a string. You could have the merry coming downwards, and you've got the merry and a tiny little ampersand and then bright, that says. It's still dirty, and then I've put it back on the set, so you can't really see what it says. But that's merry and bright is the sentiment in this set. Then you've also got smaller little baubles and hearts and stars and an extra little bow, so that you can like recreate this kind of a look of the bauble with the bow, and you can have the string coming off the top, but you've got it in a smaller scale. So you've got a round bauble, one that's more like that heirloom shape with the point at the bottom, and then a sort of a more bulbousy layered kind of a bauble as well. Then you've got a separate little bubble, so you can add to this kind of, I suppose it is snow because it's Christmassy, but I kind of think of them as bubbles. Then you've got a couple of different hearts. That's more of a skinny one, and it's got a crisscross pattern on it. And then that's more of a slightly chunkier heart just with the outline. You've got a couple of stars. We've got a bigger star here and a smaller star, which goes really well with the stars that are incorporated into this design. You've got this little piece, which is kind of like the bubbles or the snow, with some like little stylized tiny little snowflakes, I suppose. You know, like an asterisk. They're kind of like a messy asterisk kind of a look. And then you've also got this gorgeous banner in here too, which gives you 4 little places. So if you had letters, like letter stamps, you could do Noel in that. You could add someone's name in it. You can easily repeat this as well. I used it twice on my card, sort of coming in from the sides, but you could easily do a DL card and maybe extend that all the way across to get someone's name in it, depending how many letters are in their name. And this has also got gorgeous little stars all the way around the banner design too, and a lot of these little elements will fit inside here. So the hearts will fit, the stars will fit, this little bubbly element fits in there too, and you can also have like the strings attaching to the banner with the baubles dangling down as well, which I think is really lovely. And you could probably even use that little scribbly bow to make it look like it's being tied up with bows as well. So that is the Baubles and Banners die set, or stamp set even. Did I say stamp set earlier? I can't remember now. I meant stamp set. Then this is the Holly Blessing stamp set, which is really lovely. It's more like kind of on the religious side with a church in it. But I think this as well, for Halloween cards, you could make that into a really spooky kind of a church too. So not just Christmas cards, think of different occasions. And also, obviously like christenings and things, you could use this little wacky church for it as well. There's that other tree that I was talking about. And again, like I said before, all of the stamps, it's the black that you see on there, the scribbly black, that is what the actual stamp looks like. So it's not a stripy tree, but it's just giving you an idea that you could colour it to be a stripy tree if you wanted to. Then we've also got this element here, which is kind of like a part sketched circle design, which I kind of used it as like a moon coming out from behind the church. That was what I was thinking as I did that card. but this is also like the same kind of size as the bauble, so the next stamp set actually coordinates with the bauble and with this as well. And it's got a gorgeous cluster of stars in it and a gorgeous scribbly line with some like berries or dots or snow within it as well. You've got a gorgeous little bough here with like a fern kind of leaf with a few berries on the end. More little stars which are different to the previous set, so you can mix them all together and have different looking stars. Another kind of snowfall, dotty, bubbly kind of little extra stamp, which I really love these little ones. And you've got a different one over here too, which is more solid, whereas this has got open areas in it. This is more of a solid scribbled design. You've got a couple of holly leaves, which are really gorgeous, and this holly leaf as well. And I've actually used this one in conjunction with these two to make a whole wreath design to go on a card. And I did it in a rainbow as well, which I thought was a cool idea. So really gorgeous sketched holly, and even though they are sketched, they're still easy to cut out. I mean, I have been leaving the white border around the edge, but even if you sort of snip over one of the scribbled lines, it still looks completely fine. So you're not really losing any of the gorgeous detail, even if you snip off a little bit of a scribbly doodly line. And then you've also got 25 in there, obviously because Christmas is the 25th of December. So that is the third stamp set. And then the final one is one that coordinates, and it shows you on the back here, it shows you how it coordinates with the bauble, but you can also make it coordinate with this one as well. And it basically, you get the two curved lines to create a kind of banner that will go across the bauble. You've also got a little pair of holly leaves and an ampersand to be able to like double up the sentiments and give an ampersand between two of the designs. And then you have all of these words that will fit in that banner, and the banner will fit perfectly on the bauble, or you could use it within this circular shape, or you could just use the words in the circular shape as well, or you can just use the words by themselves for a card too, which I have done on one, maybe two of them. So you've got love, Noel, joy, peace, Christmas, festive, wishes, and heartfelt. So you could even do heartfelt Christmas wishes. You can do festive wishes, Christmas love, peace, love, joy. You can just have Noel by itself. You can have love and peace. You could have joy and Christmas, or Christmas and joy, you know, loads of different combinations that you can use this stamp set for, but also just the words by themselves are quite nice. I mean, wishes, you can add birthday to that, you could add anniversary to that, and even heartfelt wishes, you can still add birthday and anniversary and stuff. So even though it is more Christmassy, if you have any of the, I can't remember what they were called, you know, in my last up close Polkadoodles videos, I showed stamp sets this size with loads of different words on. If you got any of those, I'm sure there would be tons of combinations of different words. You could personalise it with like mum or auntie and stuff as well. So that would be really brilliant. So that is the fourth stamp set. So those are all of the stamps in this brand new Blessings and Baubles collection. Then all the links to all of these will be below the video as well, so if you're interested in any of them, you can have a look at the links, which will take you to the Polkadoodles website. And then I've got my samples to show you as well. So I've done 6 cards, and I'll try and tell you what products I've used, because I didn't film any of these, but I wanted to film this up close video so that you could have a look at some ways of using these stamp sets. So this is the first one, where I've used that Merry and Bright, and just to show that you don't have to use it as a bauble string or as part of the bauble, is it Bauble and Banners die set? You don't have to use it as part of that. I actually mixed it with the set that has the gorgeous snowflake in, and the houses and the little trees as well. And I really like how that turned out. And the background for this one, I actually took 2 Aqua flows, which is the Clear Water and the True Turquoise, which are from the Ocean Air triple pack of Aqua flows, and I squidged them out onto my glass cutting mat, and then took a flat brush. This is one of the Nuvo ones as well, just took a flat brush to be able to apply them, because if you applied them straight from here you get a thinner line, but I wanted that kind of flat brush stroke, so I just used the flat brush to apply them. And then once the background was dry, I splattered on some of the excess colour that was left on the brush, and I also was using this one, the Teal Raspberry Opal Blaze polish from Cosmic Shimmer. I love these so much, and they do them in the touch tip applicators as well, so if you're if you don't like sort of watering things down or using them with a paintbrush and stuff, I think the touch tips are brilliant to get as well. Let me just reach for one. So they look like this. Did I pick the right colour out? No, I didn't. But yeah, they look like this, and they have this little applicator on them so that you can apply them in like more detailed areas, rather than having to scoop some out of the pot and then use a paintbrush. You can just apply it like this, and you can even add it on and then dab it with your finger to try and like spread out the glittery effect as well. But I really love the finish of these Opal Blaze polishes. You can see it. I did an extra thin stripe on them, and I also accented the snowflakes and splattered it on the trees and stuff as well. And then everything else is just coloured with Copic markers. I used I think it was E41 and E42 to get this kind of taupey colour for the houses, which I thought was a really nice colour to accent this gorgeous light blue and this sort of minty tone as well. And I kept it all sort of tonal rather than going a bit wacky with the colours. I kept it all kind of tonal. I added a scattering of sequins, and then to finish the sequins off and to accent some of the dots on the snowflake, I actually used the Frosted Lake Dream Drops from Nuvo. So this gives that gorgeous iridescent finish like the Opal Blaze polishes, and this is the brand new one that came out in the White Wonderland colour trend as well. So I used that on there, but I really love how that's turned out. Then this one is the one which I said about making a rainbow wreath. So for this one I stamped 5 of the main sort of holly leaf design, and then as I was stamping each one of the 5 of these, I stamped the 2 separate leaves as well. So I have five of each of the separate holly leaves and 5 of the ones with the berries in the middle, and then I just picked out a rainbow of Copic markers and then just coloured them all. Some of them the colour is in the main sort of leaf design, and in other ones it's in the separate leaves, and then I kind of matched it to the berries to sort of tie it all together in a whole rainbow kind of circle. It's not a complete rainbow because I wanted the pink to come into the red, and there isn't pink in a rainbow, but I think it gives a really nice look. And then the background, I actually ink blended some pumice stone, Distress Oxide, and I've been using these kind of blender brushes. The tonic ones are really good as well. These were just some, this says blue and I've been using it for grey. These were just some I got off of Amazon, but the tonic ones are much better quality than the cheapy Amazon ones. And then I've used a Dymo label, and I've also used one of those sentiments, and then brought in a few of the colours from the rainbow to colour it in. Oh, and the rest of the background, I kind of got sidetracked. So, I ink blended with the pumice stone, and then I used the 2 sort of dotty little stamps that have got the gorgeous circle design and the more solid scribbled dots all over, still with the pumice stone ink. Then I squished some of the pumice stone ink onto my glass cutting mat and squeezed in some of the glitter gloss Aqua Shimmer from Nuvo, and then took a paintbrush and splattered it on. So you've got the colour of the pumice stone, but you've got the sparkle in there as well. And then accents on the wreath, I just used a white gel pen in places to sort of add a little highlight to the berries and colour in the like little dots that are on the holly leaves as well. And I left a white border around the holly leaves, and you can see in some places, like here, I've actually cut around the scribbly lines, but in other places I've just snipped them off and both look fine, you know. So it doesn't really matter how neat you are with your cutting. This scribbly look kind of lends itself to slightly messier cutting out, which is brilliant. So that is that one. Then I really love this colour scheme from the first card I showed you. So I actually used the colour scheme again on this card, and this is the one, this is completely flat, this one. All of the others I've sort of decoupaged things or added them with foam tape, but this one is completely flat, and I just stamped the banner one way and then I offset it to the other side. I've used 3 of the little baubles, and I've got the strings coming down from them, and I just did 25 Noel as the sentiment, and I've also added on the hearts and a couple of stars and things to the banners, and then used that same colour scheme, also with that little cluster stamps with pumice stone ink, and I also splattered some of the pumice stone ink on there as well. And then the background with this kind of bokeh effect was just using 3 Copic markers. I think I was using the BG quad, oh no, it was the B's actually, it was B quadruple 0, B double 0 and B01, so you've got really light colours in there. It just gives that really gorgeous effect, and all you do is just draw circles and kind of overlap them in places as well, and it gives that cool effect. So I really like how that one turned out, and really simple. There was no masking in that. I managed to do everything without having to mask it at all, so that makes it so simple for batch making little quick cards, and you could change the sentiment out on them as well. Then let's show this one next. So this, in the background here, look at that gorgeous snowflake. That is stamped with the Opal Blaze polish from Cosmic Shimmer. That's the Gilded Avocado colour, which is one of my favourites because it's really pretty. I love these so much. They've got like 4 or 5 different colours of mica in them, so they really shift around depending on what colour you put them on as well. I really love them. And you can stamp with them. So, what was I doing? It was for the next card that I'll show you. I had some of this out on my mat, and I had been adding water to it and painting with it and flicking it onto the background, but I had some left and I didn't want to waste it, so I added a bit more water to it, and then I took that giant snowflake stamp and just pressed it into what was left on my glass mat and then stamped it. And I just reloaded it, and I did it 3 times just to give some beautiful shimmer to the background. And the background has got a little bit of ink blending with some cracked pistachio distress oxide, again with those blender brushes to give a really soft finish. And then the colouring, I just used minty colours of Copics to match the cracked pistachio kind of a colour, and I brought in a peach and a red and a yellow as well, because I thought that would be quite a funky Christmassy colour scheme. And then I've just used a tiny bit of a light grey just to add some snow detail as well. Then to give kind of a falling snow detail, I actually splatted on a little bit of that gilded avocado that was left with a really fine brush, so it's really fine splatter, and you can see how I decoupaged up some of the elements on that stamped design as well. So I did all 3 of the trees and then 2 houses in the front, and I also painted on some of the gilded avocado onto the trees, the doors of those raised houses, and also the Christmas sentiment as well. I really love how this one turned out. And then I just added sequins, a little scattering of sequins, and to finish them off I used the Dragon Scales Dream Drops from Nuvo. I think the Dream Drops and the Opal Blaze polish are like the best combination ever. They work so well together. Really, really gorgeous. And there's lots of different colours in both ranges to pick from, so you should be able to find something that matches, which is really good. So that is this card. Then this is the one where I had actually watered down the Opal Blaze, and I was using the leftovers to do that card. But this was, I actually used watercolours in the background. I used some of the Arteza watercolours. I'm working on an up-close video using the tube Arteza watercolours, and this was using some of the more pastel colours going to a slightly deeper tone, and then once that was dry I came back in with this Polkadoodles stencil which I showed in a video last year. I can't remember the name, but I'll put it on the screen in a minute. And I ink blended again with one of those brushes and the cracked pistachio distress oxide ink as well, just to give kind of some extra detail to the background. Then I also used one of the little sort of circly doodly stamps, again stamping it in cracked pistachio. I've splatted some of that gilded avocado in the background, and then I have taken that bauble stamp, used the banners and done Christmas in the middle, and then also used the Merry from the bauble set too. and added a string as well. Originally I had stamped the string as part of the whole image, but it was kind of getting a bit battered as I cut it out, because it's really fine to cut out, and having the weight of this bauble on the end of it was sort of battering it a little bit. So I then stamped the string separately and cut that out and added that on top instead of having it actually joined to the image. But you can see how easily you can just add that scribbly stamped banner, the top and the bottom, and add one of the sentiments to your bauble, which is really nice. Then I coloured the whole thing with Copics, again using that sort of peachy red colour tone, the minty green and the yellows as well. And then for accents on the green areas I used the Gilded Avocado Opal Blaze, and for the pink areas I can't remember what colour I used for the pink areas actually. Pink Blueberry, there we go. Pink Blueberry is what I used for the pinky areas, because this is one of those interference ones, whereas where on black it does show more of the blue mica, but on something that's sort of lightly coloured it shows more of the pinky mica in there. You can see a little bit of blue, I think, but it does show more of a pinky, so I thought it would go with the red quite nicely. And then again I've used the sequins and some of the Dragon Scales Dream Drops in the centres of them too. And then finally the last one that I've done is using the church. This is why I got the idea of a like haunted house, because I did kind of use a little bit too dark of a colour maybe for the slate of the roof, and it kind of looks a little bit like it could be in a horror film or something. But I think the hearts make it look really sweet too. So I've done the little church, I've got 3 of the little scribbly trees, and then I added this one, which is that partial circle design, to kind of simulate like a moon kind of presence in the background. And then I've used the joy, which I've just stamped and trimmed out and then added a little matte layer to, and then I've just combined it with some Dymo label. But again, if you had any of the small little word stamps that Polkadoodles have previously done, I think they would work really nicely in conjunction with these larger words as well. Then for the background of this one, I actually used Pine Needles Distress Oxide. Again, I blended it with one of those brushes so you get the really fine feathering sort of out to the sides. And then I used just this portion of this stencil, so that where it's really sparsely dotty. And again, I blended over with the same colour of ink, so I used the Pine Needles over the top of that again, and it kind of gives a darker tone because it's more concentrated. So that's really nice. And then I use Copics to colour everything, just matching my colours to the kind of pine needle colour that I'd used. I brought in a brighter red on this one, the same kind of yellowy tones, and then some warm greys to colour in the church. I also added some scribbly doodly lines underneath where I had placed all of the pieces to kind of ground them a little bit so they weren't sort of like floating on the card. And then for the glittery accents on this card, I actually just used the Secura Stardust pen. It's just the clear one. It kind of mimics the colour that's underneath actually, because it kind of gives a different effect on the red hearts, to the yellow windows, to the green trees. But I really like this pen. It's a really good one to invest in because you can use it on anything, because it's just like a clear. It has a slight gold kind of glitter to it, but it's really useful for just adding an extra little bit of glitter in a fine place. So that is all of the cards that I created with this new Blessings and Baubles stamp collection from Polkadoodles. So I hope you enjoyed seeing this little bit of inspiration, and yeah, I wish you all the luck getting all of your Christmas cards done as well. There's so many gorgeous Christmas products coming out this year that it's going to be difficult for you to choose between what ones you want to use on your Christmas cards. But I really do love these Polkadoodle stamps, and they're really, because they've got this sketchy style, they're very easy to colour because you don't necessarily have to stay inside the lines. If you go out of the lines, it kind of just adds to that gorgeous sketchy feel. And I have used Copic markers on all of them just because that's my favourite kind of way to colour stamped images, but I think watercolour would work just as lovely with all of these as well. And any of the real brush pens or the Twi markers that I've shown in other our teaser videos, I think they would be brilliant for these as well. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this up close video. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully there'll be some more Polkadoodles ones in the near future as well. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you again in the next video. Bye!